The world is shifting. Inspiration is everywhere. We learn about the best in ourselves from each other. I'm Will McPherson, and you've hit rock bottom. Building your health and happiness from the ground on up. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'd like to welcome Harry Spaight to the show. Super excited about this. This guy, right? This person is an author. He's a speaker. He runs sales workshops. He's a coach. He's a mentor. He's a friend, a strategist, collateral effects guy. What I mean by collateral effects guys, he helps people, and in turn, they help other people. He's a trainer. I call him Mr. Second Chances. And he runs a podcast called Sales Made Easy. You can find that everywhere. You know, you can find it on his website, which is Selling with Dignity. But you can find YouTube and all the usual suspects, as I said. So, Harry, welcome to the show.
Will, thanks for having me. I wish I had your voice, man. It's so awesome.
Oh, no, wait. You're sounding good. You're sounding good. So Harry, talk about Mr. Second Chances, right? What did you do earlier in your career? What were you doing?
Oh, I started off doing mission work in my late teens and early 20s.
Wow.
To support myself, I bought a friend's business, which was a janitorial business, and just did my janitorial work at night and mission life by day. And that's what I did for
Hey, you sound like
years.
Me. I do my janitorial work at night, being this, right? And at daytime, I do sales, right? So, hey, that sounds like me. You're a superhero. So after you're mopping things up, right? You're mopping it all up. What else is going on now? What happened after that?
After we were in the Dominican Republic, my wife suggested that if we were ever going to raise a family, that was the time. So I found a sales opportunity after much trying and much failing, because I had an awesome resume of missionary and janitor.
That's a hell of a combo.
It is. It's really amazing. Someone felt pity for me and took me under their wing, and I failed miserably, but eventually things started to click and built a nice career. And now my aim is to share that success and how to do it with others.
You inspire me. So like I said, you do all these things now, right? And those are things, I assume, Harry, that you love, right? Is this passion and purpose we're talking about here?
Totally driven to help. Yeah.
Selling with dignity. What is the inspiration? Because I can tell you, Harry, right? I have friends that are in quote unquote non-sales, but I believe everyone does sales in every aspect of life, right? But they think of people that do sales, right? Like CFO guys, right? I've got a few friends that are CFOs, right? And they think of salespeople as people totally driven by money, not happy with what they do, but they do it just for the almighty buck. So, and it's a grind. It's doing things you don't want to do. Here, do you believe that, Harry, or selling with dignity? Can you explain to me what that means?
Okay, so I really appreciate the question and this idea that sales is a grind and people do it for the buck. I totally believe there are many that do that, and they're missing out on a real opportunity to serve people. So when people say that sales is a grind, it's sort of like saying, I'm overweight and always will be, or I'm not cut out for this, or I'm just terrible at that. They're already painting the picture as to what they want to live, which is grinding. I choose to enjoy my life. I don't think sales needs to be a grind. I love it because I am speaking to great people like you, Will. And when you have conversations with great people, you feel every day charged that there's a lot of good in the world. And all you do is eventually ask people if they want to do business with you. It's not like this life-altering, put pressure on people and make them hate you and be a different person and all that stuff. So, so selling with dignity is treating people with respect, serving them, and eventually asking for the order. It's really pretty simple.
I was in IT education for years, and we had this one sales manager came in, right, Harry? And he says, his quote of the day was, "Find someone who doesn't hate you today." So already, man, just my mindset, right? Just kind
Yes.
of. I'm guessing you probably disagree with his slogan on that one.
Well, yeah, yeah, slightly.
Yeah, I kind of found what you wrote down. You said some people think selling is a grind, but you say selling is having conversations with people, discovering their pain and helping them. Right. And I think that's what I took away from that is I think sales is you have the ability to affect people's lives, business lives, and thus their personal lives by helping them. And I think that's where the true successful salespeople are is just kind of in the mind. It's just who can I help today, rather than how can I make $1 million or something like that.
Exactly. You've heard of Tony Robbins.
A little bit, yes.
I think he does all right financially. He sells to millions of people and he has made millions of dollars. I watched a video of him this morning where he said business is all about serving.
Serving, yes.
Giving. Serving and giving. So, yes.
And that's
really it.
You served and you brought that mindset of serving people with the mission work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Juxtapose it with sales. Exactly. So how can I, it's not selling, right? It's serving people. That's fantastic. What are, just if you could real quick, just tell me in 20 words or less, what do people get out of your seminars, your help, your serving, right? What can people take away? What are a couple of things?
Well, they get number one, that they get that the idea that selling does not need to be gross. They feel that if once I compare that a great salesperson or a great business owner is like the server in a fine dining restaurant that serves and asks for the order. The server never shows that they're disappointed when the client or the guest says, I'm not in the mood for dessert. They just keep serving. They don't lead with, you really have to make a decision here in the next 5 minutes or I'm going to move on to someone else. They keep serving. And then when they do a great job, they get rewarded at the end of the meal. And when people recognize that sales can be like that, it's a whole different ball game for them.
It's a whole different ball game. Yeah, what's a good mindset to have when you're not on the phone?
Well, the good mindset is to figure out what your why is. And if your why is, I just want to make a ton of money, probably not going to last doing what you're doing, because people are going to frustrate you and you're going to go right through people and they're not going to want to continue to do business with you. So if you have a decent mind, a decent why, let's figure that out. Look, I want to make the world a bit better. I want to serve people in business. I want to inspire people. I want to leave a legacy. I want to provide for my family so that they can build wealth and for future generations. We have to figure out the why first, not necessarily first, but we should figure it out pretty early. When we do that, we can go through the ups and downs from the beginning of selling, because there will be ups and downs. There's no magic pill. There's no 10x your business the first month.
10x,
there's
baby.
a lot of nonsense that goes on out there, which is all agenda driven for other people. So if you need inspiration to keep going, then you have to start your day with inspiration, whether it be from Tony Robbins or Mel Robbins or Harry Spaight or somebody. You've got to follow somebody and recognize that these people have already done it. I'm going to do it as well. In fact, I'm already doing it. And when you think like that, your positivity and approach, and I'm a believer in the law of attraction, your attractiveness will grow and people will want to do business with you. But you have to be out doing the right things too.
You got to do the right things.
Yes. You can't just sit back and hide behind your computer and say, please, somebody email me and say you want to buy my stuff. It doesn't quite work that way.
What about culture, Harry? Now, you don't want to make too many changes, right? However, though, what if someone is not happy where they're at, but they're too afraid to pull the trigger? I mean, what do you say to that? What do you say to about folks who, I love what I love my profession, right? But I'm not. The culture here and the support just isn't where I want it, or what do you encourage people to do then?
To do the Ben Franklin close, which is that just came to my mind, but it's really write the pros and cons down on a sheet of paper. Look at what you have that is good and write down what isn't so good, and then make a decision based on how you feel on what you're looking at. Because what happens a lot, Will, is people are constantly moving around, trying different products, different companies to represent.
Yeah. Right.
And that is a monumental waste of time. Folks, there is no perfection out there. You have to deal with adversity, some problems, and you don't want to jump out of the frying pan into the proverbial fire. And you don't want to let go of what you're building because you get frustrated with your boss, or they change the comp plan, or somebody frustrates you and you say, well, that's it, I'm done. You got to think through that stuff, right?
Right. What I'm getting out of that is don't make change for the sake of change. But if it is a toxic environment, don't be afraid, though, to make that change.
Yeah. One of the things I look at is like, if I'm ever getting yelled at by somebody, then that person's not for me. And I've gotten yelled at. Right. And I gave it 90 days to see if that person was going to be going somewhere. And they did. They got fired. That stuff happens, right? And the smart thing that I did was I didn't let that frustrate me to the point of quitting on the spot, which is what I felt like doing.
Right.
But I said, I'm going to give this some time, find the right opportunity, and I'm going to let HR know what this person's doing. And, they had some nice meetings with HR, and finally they had to part ways, and I got to keep going.
Excellent. That's good advice as well. Right. You remember, it's not just you, and you and I both come from rules of the playground era where you're not a whistleblower. It's just kind of in the old school, right, Harry, back in the day.
Yeah.
You don't do that, but hopefully times have changed. So that's really good. I think what interests me a lot about you is the second chances, Mr. Second Chances. There is, it's all about creating a legacy, not only for your career, but we only have one life to lead. So it's about doing your purpose and passion, but you got to find that out. For me, it took 23 years of doing something to figure out through my dense skull that, hey, man, let's do what your purpose is, which I knew that very early on in life, Harry. I knew that like when I was, 18. However, though, I have wonderful parents, but I listened to them rather than listening to myself. And that took me on this 23-year journey off the path that I was supposed to be on. So tell me, you're on your purpose and passion now. When did the light go on? I mean, when did it go bink, and when did you jump?
Oh, it's a great question. Bringing back a lot of memories here. I
hear some emotion too.
Yeah. Okay.
What were you feeling though? I mean, come on, tell me what you're doing now, right? Compared to what you were doing. I mean, what are some of the emotions that hit you?
Well, I think when you're not really sure what your purpose is probably right in front of you. And for me, for many years, it was taking care of the family. It was, I've got to provide for the family. And I had some old school thoughts going through my head, which were, you don't necessarily need to love your job.
Yes.
You don't necessarily need to, love everybody. You need to make the money, and you need to work hard, and, be loyal, and all of this stuff. And I was that, and that's okay. But it was all, when I look back at it, is like, that's part of my journey. I don't regret any moments of it. I mean, there's things that I could say, well, I spent too many years doing the mission work, or I could have done this differently, or that. I shouldn't have spent so much money on properties that all went belly up during the market collapse. I could say all those things, and I don't. And I think about gratitude for each of those and say, what did I learn? And I'm grateful that. And that's helped in the journey. But to get specific, during COVID, I felt like I had reached the point where I needed to do something different. And it just was a time. Right. And so I started to make some changes in my life. And the big thing was a friend of mine. It was like, if you believe in source or God, whatever you want to call it, but a friend of mine asked me to join him on podcasting, and that just came out of the blue, and it changed my life because I met so many incredible people that were podcasting, authors, entrepreneurs, and so forth. I went, what the heck am I doing? And started looking in the mirror and started to make some changes. And within a few months, I was starting to write a book. And then, I was doing my own podcast and I was putting out videos. Now I've got TikTok and YouTube channels. And, it's like I'm doing stuff that I never would have dreamt. My kids who are in their 20s look at me and it's like, wow, this is incredible. And now they're telling their friends to follow me on TikTok because I'm dope. I hear. Before, the word dope meant you were not very bright. Now I'm really cool because I'm dope.
I credit technology a lot with that. What we're doing now, right? It's 30 years ago, there was limited ways you could change, your communication, getting your message out there. So hey, man, this is a great time to be alive. Super excited, Harry. All right. So folks, like I said, I can tell you with experience, talk to Harry. There's no obligation. You can take something away. If he can help you, great. If he can't help you right now, that's okay too. Harry just likes talking to people, and giving them a couple, discovering a couple small action items that you can do, and it goes from there. So,
absolutely.
Yes. Harry, thanks so much. Right. Way to make this short and sweet. So thanks so much. And until the next time, Harry and everybody else, you've hit rock bottom, building your health and happiness from the ground up. Thanks, Harry.
For anyone who wants to get a hold of Harry, you can reach him at his website at sellingwithdignity.com.
Hey, thanks for listening. And check out my website at william-mcpherson.com. Building your health and happiness from the ground on up.